Hey everybody, what is going on? It is your boy Izzo33 welcoming you to Worlds 2024. We've got the Worlds unlocked in front of us, as well as the predictions in the Anarchy Analysis series to cover off today. Usually, or last year, we opened this up during a stream. This time it's being done in a video. And it's been a while since I've done a recording or anything of the sort, but yeah, it's interesting because these have this protective sheeted layer on them, like they did last year, and it's very, very snug to the box, as you can see. But I'll just turn it around to the side. You can see a bit of it, just a nice unlocked wrap on it. Anyway, I'm gonna try and pull this off, which is never a fun thing. I'm also sat very far away from the box, so excuse me while I move that there so you can actually hear me. There. I'm actually gonna stand up. Whee! And I'm doing this the same day the World's theme dropped, which is a pretty nice touch. Linkin Park doing the song. Yeah, get some light on here. Actually, an interesting design, because you've got so many different aspects on it. It's hard to get enough light to show just basically every way of verbatim making them believe. That's the name of it. I apologize for the lighting being as terrible as it is. I'm also trying my new camera. It's a 4K camera, so the footage quality should be a little bit better than normal. So there's that. Anyway, believe it or not, I bought this purely for the World's unlocked capsule in game. That's the only reason, because I want to get the Riven skin that I forgot to get last year. I think I got last year the Jarvan World skin, just cause from it. But yeah, it's actually, the other one is just behind this box over there. And it's a lot bigger, the other one, compared to this. They've certainly cut down in size, but the last one had a massive Tibbers plush in it. This one's like a chest of drawers as it folds open. So I'm actually gonna... That's an interesting touch. I wasn't expecting that to play as soon as I opened it. And I wasn't expecting to actually have to do camera movement. So I'm actually going to do this on the fly. You can tell how unprepared I was for this, because I've left it to this last moment to understand what's in here. I also apologise that there's a load of boxes and stuff thrown about, but yeah, inside here we've got the history of Worlds. I'll not go into too much detail. You can see Fnatic 2-1 against all authority. 2012 Taipei Assassins beating Zubu Frost. The SKT1 Dynasty after a nice Samsung Galaxy win. Yeah. All hail the new kings. And yeah, so many years of history. It's surprising me that we've been kind of covering a lot of it. I know I've followed since the start of League, the esports scene. I was a TSM fan back when they were in the leagues. But yeah, now a lot has changed, and you can already start to see this box be popping. I'm moving closer, and we'll pick up the letter to start with. It is a sealed letter with the world's logo on it. And opening it up to a nice thing. It says, "It is our honor to welcome you to Worlds 2024. Worlds embodies the pinnacle of League of Legends, the top teams, the greatest players, and this passionate community uniting around our shared love for the game. With Worlds Unlocked Collector's Edition, you want to give you an extra piece of Worlds, both in-game and IRL, to commemorate and celebrate the culmination of the 2024 season. Thank you for your unwavering passion for League and this incredible sport. Your fandom and support drives us ever forward, and we hope Worlds 2024 becomes your most memorable experience yet. Good luck, have fun." From the global head of LoL Esports and the executive producer of League of Legends. Couldn't get Tryndamere to do this. Shame. Mark Merrill probably was busy that day. Anyway, to be fair, you could have honestly have faked it. Put him on there. But hey, we at least get one of the big people with Worlds anyway to sign it. No, I'm not critiquing who they got. The guy's probably a good person at what his job is. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? With this big guy. Hello. World's Baron. Pretty big. I mean, he's certainly a bigger plush than my Alolan Vulpix that's just sat here. Like, actually, maybe not. They're about the same size, all things considered. So yeah, that's a nice little pickup. I was gonna say my first League plushie, but then I realised I got Tibbers last year. But yeah, we'll lift up this layer. Ooh. Oh, pretty heavy, to say the least. That goes onto my chair, and now we enter the box. We've got a lot of cool things in here. I'm going to move the camera actually closer, just to pan in. So there we go. We have the Make Them Believe Lux figure. We have the World's Keycap set. We have a pin. And then the mouse mat down below in this layer. And I mean, you can pop open. I think this is the bottom of the box as well, to be fair. But yeah, I think it's a Make Them Believe plate mouse mat. I don't typically want to unravel it, to be fair. It's HyperX, so that matches actually my microphone. Or Make Them Believe, not we believe. I believe in Joe Hendry, as they would say. Yeah, these have the interesting keycaps, like the World's Trophy's a keycap. Then there was like a few other like random ones. I forget what it was. Yeah. Made by HyperX as well. Clearly got a good deal from them for making these. Certainly feel good. Probably won't use them Fair. Adds to extra value. The only thing that I've actually used out of these Worlds Unlocked, apart from the Worlds capsule, is last year's hat, which I'm repping today, which you'll see in a bit during the prediction segment of this. But as a whole, this box has a lot of value. I mean, last year there was a Teemo figure, and it was the emote in the game. This is actually quite a thin box. Like, it feels pretty light. You can wear the LEC banner. Cool. Pretty cool. Does it have all the regions banners on here? That's a bit offensive if you think about it. What if I wanted to rep the LLA or the CB LOL? I can't. That's not good. Right, you need to sort it out. But yeah, pretty cool packaging. I'll maybe open that figure up. Who knows? And the last thing in the box is this badge, which has the World's logo, I believe. Yep, it's just tilted to one side in a hexagon. Badge looks pretty dope. Nothing on the back. Just says League of Legends Riot Games. Anywho, that is the World's Unlocked box. There's a lot in this one. I mean, last year they had the little cutout figurines, and that was it in the middle. This year, you get the full world scene. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the foldy up Renekton, but when you're bringing out the music to provide sentimental value, it's certainly up there. Anyway, I'm done rattling on. It's time to stare into Baron lovingly as we go to the prediction side, as well as the pick'em side of this video. So, for the third time of asking, it's time to go through my pick'ems, as the audio quality kind of dipped, so you're probably going to get this a lot quicker, considering I've only got 15 hours to make this video. So, let's discuss these quick as possible. Longest game at Worlds, this is just me thinking about it. Currently the games, or the longest games through most regions, are 43, 44, 45 minutes. At World, where games matter the most, there's a chance that a game will go longer, and that's kind of why I've gone with the 45 to 49 minute mark. No game's really gone past 50 minutes this year in terms of the major regions. Pentakills at Worlds, last year there was only 3, and they were all in the playing stage. There was nothing past it, so the chance of a pentakill is probably just when a major region faces a minor region, and the chance is very slim. So that's kind of why I've gone with only 2 as a bit of a safety caution, because I don't think there'll be that many. Most Drakes killed. Cloud Drake always seems to pop up for me, so that's kind of why I've gone with that as the major Drake that's killed the most. Because bear in mind, it doesn't matter which appears most, it's what's killed the most. Normally Hextech and Cloud get killed the most, so it's a all mountain this year. But it's a very big toss-up, so it's very much down to luck on that one. How many Baron Steals will there be at Worlds? I like this one because it includes 0 in a modicum that goes up to 2. The fact that that range is literally 3 numbers, and Baron Steals are very unlikely to happen in current modern League of Legends, it's very much a good option to go for that one. Lastly, on event, how many reverse sweeps will there be at Worlds? There's always a chance of 1, but they're very unlikely, so I've kind of had to go for 1 at least. Because it's best ofs, you must remember. in 7. 7 best ofs, one of them can be a sweep. Though it's highly unlikely. Champion time. Who will be played them in the most different roles? I looked at champions, or on my League of Legends account, and just thought, what champion can be played across multiple roles in Pro? And I looked at the LEC and thought, Poppy. It's been played jungle by G2. I think Yikes played it. Oscarinin has certainly played it top. So I know at least 2 roles. And then Mickey, the other G2 member who can flex it, played it in support. And it's that awkward pick that could be flexed 3 times, though highly unlikely. Because there isn't many champions that have that flexibility to be played across multiple roles. Corki's one of them that can. Sedge can be technically for G2. But it's like, Corki to me has kind of still stayed a mid laner, to much the chagrin of Riot, who tried to force it into the bot lane. But it's still there. Next up, most banned. It's safe to go Rumble. He's been the most banned champion all year long. So keeping that monicum the same just feels the smartest option for me. Most deaths at Worlds as a champion, I've got Nautilus. Last year, it was a toss-up for me between Rakan and Naut. Because Rakan's kind of fallen to the wayside and Nautilus hasn't because of the Warmogs meta, I think that this is probably the safest pick to go, especially considering I've seen Mickey X play this champion. Yes, that is a dig at him. Lastly, Rumble for the highest win rate. Clearly, if it's the most banned, it must have a really good win rate. That's the logic there. So, yeah. Players' time. Who will play the most different champions? I've gone with APA. I've just got this thought of him being... It's either going to be him or the other guy that I think of when I think of champions, Merwin. And I think I might go with Merwin now. I'm thinking about it. I looked at his GOL earlier just to see his picks, and it's like, he's got the longest list out of everyone in Playins, because I only looked at Playins teams. This guy probably will get the opportunity to try it, because in playoffs, he was given that opportunity to play what he liked, and it worked out for him. Do I think that the meta has shifted enough for him to be stuck onto tanks? Maybe. Do I think APA has more freedom to play his wacky AP picks mid? Possibly. But with the meta still being ADC orientated in the mid lane, yeah, it's a time to place. But I think there's more chance for Merwin to play these sorts of wackier picks. Pays is my guy for most kills. There's no logic really behind it. I think that it was a toss-up for me between him and Gumayushi, which is why you see him there as the highest KDA. As the issue is, I see Pays getting caught out a lot more, so that's why he isn't KDA player. And Pays just goes for kills. He's greedy because it pays to be greedy. Anyway, that's kind of why you see KDA for Gumayushi. Kind of explain that. First Blood, you've got to give to LCK First Blood King owner. Highest amount of First Blood. I think it was like 33% or something high and stupid like that in all of the LCK, which is pretty nuts. Again, I'm tempted to switch Gumayushi out here for Super for most First Bloods, or at least one, but it's like, typically they happen in play-ins, patterns, because it's major regions versus minor, and that's where the explosivity happens. It's where you teams outclass each other. The issue is I don't think that any of the major region teams will do that good against the others. So, yeah, that's kind of why I've gone with just
a random player, to be honest, that I think's really good at League. Finally, we round it out with teams. Gam, it's the obvious guess for the teams that are available here. I mean, look, this team has burnt me too much to pick them. I was tempted to go for Movistar, considering the players that they've got. But Gam, of the teams here, most success internationally over recent years of them, you kind of have to stick with them as a strong team for it all. Shortest win. This one's pretty easy to explain. I just went on GOL, looked at shortest or quickest win times, and of the top regions, Weibo were up there. G2 are close behind, but Weibo were there. And considering they won the LCK, it makes sense too. When you have Gumayushi, who has a Varus ability that steals Barons, you have to go with T1. Even if he didn't play Varus, T1 have the higher chance, considering I'm putting faith in Owner to get Verse Bloods, I put in faith in him to steal objectives. Why do I think, though, T1 overall? Considering the fact that they had a bit of a rough playoffs, and they're here, they tend to fall behind clearly. It's comeback situations that get them back into the game, and that's why you've got to give them the Baron steals. Who will win Worlds? The issue with this one is I'm unsure. I think this is probably a Chinese year in terms of winning it. But of the teams here, Gen G just scream like winners to me. I think that the Golden Road, while no longer exists, they can get an almost perfect one by winning here. That would just round out the year for them as a whole. And finally, this was picked because I went with APA having the most random picks, and now I've changed it over to Merwin. I think we'll still get TL with the most random picks. That's just a thought. And with it, I'm done going through my Pickems. Let's get into our predictions for the 4 series that are happening. So, let's get into our predictions. We kick it off with MDK versus Vikings Esports, a team formerly known as Saigon Buffalo. And we've talked about them before, but this roster is pretty goddamn interesting. You've got Kati, Shogun, and BA all returned to the world stage, with 2 players that haven't been on this roster the entire split in terms of... Also BA one on this roster for the entire split. They've only really just found their footing in summer, with Nanway and Guri joining roster, and SOFM moving out of the support role for us playoffs into the coaching role. What a mad lad. Anyway, let's talk about this team. They've done okay. That was squeaky. I hear squeakiness, which is not good. Okay, regardless of that. Team's been weird. Team's been okay, I guess. But, to be honest, I don't rate them that highly. They've done well, obviously, to make it, but the VCS has really only ever been a one-team league, and that's always been GAM. So the fact that they're here, I think that they're going to struggle against MDK, considering how flexible MDK can be. Now, don't get me wrong, MDK aren't really here on a merited season. They're only here because they had a really good boot camp and beat G2 once in playoffs, into the finals technically. But yeah, to be honest, if we're talking about this matchup, I think it's going to be a 2-1 to MDK, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to predict 2-1 for all these series coming out over the next couple of days. By the way, there will be further predictions happening on my X, the Everyday app as it's actually called. It's also formerly known as Twitter, as news outlets let you know. But yeah, I think that this series will go in favour of the LEC team, home soil, in a situation they're used to, and yeah, that's how I think that one will go. CB LOL versus PCS time as PSG take on something that I'm currently in, Pain. And it's going to be a fun one, this, as we don't see Robo, Croc, these players from Brazil that have always been here. It's time for some players that haven't been to Worlds in a while. And apart from Titan, this looks like a fresh roster to the world stage, so it's going to be interesting to see how they do. On the other side of Rift to them is a team that isn't very new to Worlds. It's a team that's pretty solid and glued together in the PCS's PSG. You've got Maple, who's predominantly been playing AD carries in the mid lane. He hasn't really touched AP mids at all this year, which is surprising, considering the fact that he's known synonymously for his Azir, his Talia as well, and then Orianna to boot. So, with the fact that he's not played them, there's a chance of him coming out here at Worlds. But PSG as a whole this year have kind of been this iffy squad. They've not really done too well at internationals over the past 2 years, and maybe this World Championship is a time for them to step up and make it out to the main stage, where they really should be. And who knows, maybe it's the last season for some of these players, so this could be their swan song and chance to make it. But let's talk about the matchup as a whole. How do I think this one will go? I think it's probably going to go to PSG 2-1. Pain have that sort of roster to me that could surprise and do well here. I like the fact that they are, to me, very unknown, and they could quite easily just win. But who knows? Again, regardless, let's move into our next game, our third game of the week. Well, our third series sees the PCS and the VCS facing off as GAM take on SoftBank Hawks. I really want to say Hawk Tour just to have that meme in here. But yeah, if you don't know, this year the PCS merged with the LJL and the LLO to form a super region called Asia Pacific. And let's be honest, this is the first time we're going to see the LJL not being represented by DFM in probably the longest of times, as SoftBank Hawks bring pretty much only one renowned player who's been to the world stage before in Evi. The rest of the lineup seems very new to the world stage and looking to shock the world and do something surprising, because DFM were always that storied team at Worlds that could never make it and never really did much. Their counterparts are the opposite. GAM have always been an upset team who've strided and taken massive steps over recent years to be the best wildcard team at the World Championship. And I think that they're obviously going to make it quite far considering the crystal ball predictions. I think that this should be a 2-1 to GAM. and I want just an explosive matchup. Every we saw in the LEC was kind of forced into these farming orientated picks to just sit on sides and not really have an impact in games. But when he got into team fighting, he was just a bloodhound and killed people. Here in the looking at the LGL, he seemed to be the same sort of thing, but actually not playing tanks. He's been playing carries and just dominating, and I really like that for him because it feels like he's been missing that sort of style for the few years that I've seen of him recently. But yeah, I do think though it will be a 2-1-2 Gam, though I just want to see a bloodbath really on the Rift. And finally, Movistar R7 take on 100 Thieves. Where do we start with this one? 100 Thieves, it's been a while. We don't really get to talk about them, and this is the one team that I've actually seen a game of in the LCS this year that didn't make it to MSI. They're certainly quite strong, and they've got players on this roster who, let's be honest, have been at a World Championship before. River especially, a guy that's done phenomenal work through many different teams that he's been on. But I'm just looking at his record right now. He finished second in summer, back when he was on Gone Guardians, qualifying for Worlds by beating... No, they lost to BDS. Forgot about that. He always seemed that good. Anyway, that was the LCS. Let's just move on, shall we? He also played on PSG, if you don't remember. That's where most people will remember his success. Regardless of that, let's move forward. This matchup, 100 Thieves taking on Movistar. How do I think this one will go? Personally speaking, Movistar have done work with that roster. Getting Summit into this lineup, considering he was in NA for a few years, had one rough season on TL, and yeah, he gone. And, well, there's a chance that he faces off against T1 further down the line, but he needs to take out NA's third seed to do so. But let's talk about this one. How do I think this one is gonna look? Realistically speaking, Summit and the rest of the team all have had Worlds experience before. I'm really surprised as to how this will shape up, to be honest, in that top lane matchup, because it's really going to come down to that. I think the rest of the lanes and matchups are going to be quite interesting. Quid is a player that stands out to me, played phenomenally well in the games that I've seen, just carrying the lineup in some aspects, but hey, only time will tell as to how it will shape up. But yeah, my prediction, let's lock it in. 2-1 to Movistar. I think this will be the first upset of Worlds, and it's going to come from the LLA, who typically don't tend to perform that well at Worlds. Yes, my chair is squeaking, and I'm really annoyed by it. But hey, the prediction's locked in. Movistar beat 100 Thieves. It's going to be a top diff. That's all you need to know. By the way, I looked at Movistar's GOL record. Apparently they had a game where Summit played Karthus jungle against Leviathan. Oddie played Braum support. And Summit's top lane, Oddie's jungle. Basically everyone just role swapped. And it was weird just to see on my GOL timeline. regardless of that, let's move into our final matchup. Or was this the final matchup? I think this is the final matchup, and I'm just out of it. If you don't know, I've already said it. I've recorded these multiple times. I did this matchup second. So the fact that I'm doing it now, I'm really out of tune. And it's late. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below. Subscribe and new under if you want to. I've got the worlds unlocked next to me, and it's just like, holy moly. If it weren't for how much I enjoy doing this, I certainly wouldn't have that. So yeah, thank you very much for joining. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below. Subscribe and new under if you want to, and I'll see you guys for the live streams. They will be returning for Worlds. Whether or not we cover up games, a different story. But I'll still see you for them. Peace out.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss that fact, taking big